Hi everyone,
and welcome to another episode of ITT Podcast, which stands for In This Together Podcast. Our podcast is our honest take on relationships, love, and marriage, with the aim of sharing our views and experiences for you to take from it whatever you need.
So whether you're single, dating, in a relationship, or happily married, there is something in it for you.
Hi everyone, today's episode is called Do Love Languages Actually Work in Relationships? And we will be exploring the concept of love languages and discussing how we've used it in our relationship over the years. We'll be looking at the different love languages and explore if they are just a romantic idea or if they are a truly effective tool for improving relationships and marriages.
So, babe.
I don't know if we want to do babe on
We
this.
should be comfortable now.
We are comfortable, but
Exactly. Don't
start with the uncle talk. Okay, let's just
I don't know why you're
Let's
thinking like this.
okay. Well, let's just go,
All right.
babe.
All right, babe. Why does this topic matter to us?
Well, they're one of those things that people either know about it or they don't. First of all,
True.
um,
I must say I didn't know about it until you introduced it to me.
yeah. I mean, I didn't know about it either. I mean, we talk about things when they come to our attention around the same time, isn't it? When it comes to if something comes to my attention, I will bring it to your attention because I'll find it interesting and I want to know what you think about it. So I guess for us, we've known about love languages for a long time because before we got married, I think it might have actually been a friend who knew I was engaged that recommended it. And I read the first chapter and I believe I told Frank about the book and I said to him, we should read this before we get married. At the time we were using Kindle, weren't we? Yeah, so he kind of got it on his Kindle, I got it on mine, and we read the book. And it was really, really useful. It was a real breakthrough for us, I would say, because before then, I think we really, really misunderstood each other a lot.
Yeah.
And we still do. But we understand at least the basics of each other.
Yeah.
We understand how we each operate, a lot of which I credit to this book. So I think this is important to us because it's kind of like us sharing something that I think has made a big difference to our relationship, and it could make a big difference to other people's relationships. If they already know it, then great. This episode would just emphasize some of the things about it or clarify some of the things about it that might have had some questions about. And if you don't know about it, then you definitely need to read it. Yeah.
So that's why it's important to us. It's worked for us. And we think it will work for other couples.
Yeah. And I think also by understanding each other's love languages in a relationship, you can really start to appreciate each other and build a healthier relationship, because at least then you start to recognize how the other person needs to feel loved, what actions they need from you in order for them to feel like they're in a loving relationship. And I think that could really help deepen your relationship and make it more meaningful.
Because it's not straightforward though. When you know someone, you might think, okay, they love and appreciate certain things, but the book allows you to pinpoint what it actually is.
Yeah.
And there's that, clarity.
Yeah. It's a tool. I think it's a tool to really help enhance your relationship.
Yeah.
And, like everything that we do with our podcast, it's all about having a good relationship. This is for people that really care about building that good foundation in their relationship.
Invested in their relationship.
It's not for a marriage that is not focused on love and affection. And so I guess sometimes you really need to ask yourself as well as is this the kind of relationship that I'm in? Is it one that's focused on improving, loving each other better, listening to each other, growing together? Or is it a different type of marriage where this stuff, it just will not really work?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting off topic there. Let's summarize the book, or let's summarize the 5 love languages, at least, by Dr. Gary Chapman. So it's a popular self-help book that explores the concept of love languages and understanding them to improve relationships. The book emphasizes the importance of effectively communicating love and affection to one's partner by using the preferred love languages that Dr. Gary Chapman specified in the book. So the 5 love languages are
words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch.
So those are the 5 love languages that Dr. Chapman identified, suggesting that every individual has a primary love language and that most of us will probably have more than one on to different levels, but there's always a dominant love language. And understanding your own and understanding your partner's can really enhance the quality of your relationship. So just to go into a bit more detail, words of affirmation is the love language that involves expressing love through spoken or written words of appreciation, encouragement, compliments, or kind and uplifting messages. So this is definitely where the I love you will sit. This is where the you're so beautiful, or I'm so happy to have you in my life. That kind of stuff is words of affirmation.
Definitely.
Do you want to take quality time?
Yeah, quality time. Quality time refers to giving undivided attention to your loved ones. It's about engaging in meaningful conversations. It's about creating shared experiences. It's about spending quality time together. So this involves going on like date nights, going to the movies, having like quality time at home together.
Yeah.
The
next one was receiving gifts. And this love language was all about thoughtful and meaningful giving of gifts as expressions of love. It's not necessarily about materialism, but rather about the symbolic gesture and feeling of being remembered and cared for. So it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive gifts or exclusive luxury gifts. It's more about
the actual thing.
Yeah. Giving something, thinking about that person, purchasing something or making something or giving them something as a gift, as an expression of your love.
So acts of service.
Good old acts of service. Frank's favorite.
This involves doing things for your loved ones, making their lives easier, doing errands for them. This is about doing something for the other person.
It's about making their life easier, making their life more enjoyable. So that could be anything from helping them out with chores or running errands or just performing acts that take away their burden or take away their stress and meets the needs that they have. And so the last one.
Physical touch. This is not necessarily sexual. Things like hugging, touching, cuddling. So anything physical, it falls within that realm.
Yeah, so physical touch is about using touch to make the other person feel loved and connected to you. So that covers the 5 love languages. Like we said, words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And we've given you a bit of detail on each one. So with that being said, what are our love languages? What's your love language? I think it'll be good to kind of share with our listeners so they can understand where we're coming from when we talk about love language.
Yeah. Well, my love language is acts of service and receiving gifts.
Cool.
And yours, Nuriel?
What's your number one, though?
Yeah, I think it was act of service. But we did take the quiz a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I think we're due for a refresher. I think as you get older, certain things become less priority than others, I think.
Yeah.
So what about you, babe?
So my love language, my 2 top love languages are words of affirmation and physical touch. And words of affirmation is my number 1 love language. That's the one I scored the most on. And physical touch is a close second, though. It's like they're almost the same in terms of my scores. So I had almost 2 top love languages. So let's let everyone know where they can go to find out their love language. So first of all, we would say definitely get the book so you understand what he's talking about and where he's coming from with all of it. And then there's a quiz that you can take online and it's on
5lovelanguages.com.
Yeah, it's www.5lovelanguages.com /
And it's quite
quizzes.
It's quite a straightforward page.
Yeah. And it just asks you a bunch of questions and you've got to choose what applies to you the most. And then at the end, it generates your love language.
And this is something you can do with your partner.
Yeah, we did it as a bit of fun, didn't we? Before we got married. So that was really helpful.
Yeah.
So knowing each other's love languages, how have we used love languages in our relationship and for how long? So we did it before we got married.
Yeah.
And we've been married for 10 years. So over 10 years, I would say we've been using love languages. But I don't even like to say we've been using love languages. I think it's just an understanding that we have that we refer to sometimes, or we just try to keep at the forefront of our relationship, remembering each other's love language.
But we do apply it though.
Yeah.
So using is not a bad word to say.
Yeah.
We do apply.
Yeah.
I mean, the question is, how have we been using it in our relationship?
Yeah.
And I think the way I've been using it, it's allowed me to understand you way more than I did before in terms of how to approach you. I would use an example, especially when there's like conflict between us. Knowing your love language, I know how to respond to you. I know what would diffuse the situation.
Calm me.
But before, that was not the case. It was a case of that when we've argued, it's just, we've just argued and that's it. Finding a way to make things better. I didn't know the approach to take, but knowing your love language, it made it easier.
Yeah, that's so true. So you would say you use it a lot in conflict, and you use it by kind of thinking about how to kind of approach me in certain situations.
Yeah, and also when I see that you're down, knowing that things like hugs and just touching you would lift your spirit.
Yeah.
That's been very, very helpful. I think that's been critical to our relationship in terms of like, being there for you. Because I can sit there and listen to what's wrong and what issues you may have or whatever, but not utilizing the love languages.
Yeah, and actually saying, like nice words
and stuff, and touching you. Give you a hug. It's pointless.
That's so true. I didn't really realize that you use it in that way. Yeah, that's really nice.
But before that, it was chaos.
Chaos.
It was like, what do I? In my head, it would be, she's sad. Like, okay, let me try and calm her down. So I would do a lot of talking, and
not just talking,
just trying to solve the problem. Like, okay, this is what we can do about that. And then, you'll still be sad about it. I'm thinking to myself, I'm trying to sort out the situation, but you're still not happy about it.
Because all I need is a bit of love. I just need to feel supported and loved. And sometimes I know the solution already. But
exactly.
I need to be kind of allowed to sit in my feelings and, have that validated.
So understanding the love languages, I've learned that now it's not about the solutions at that point in time. It's about showing, attending to your love language, and then work out a solution later on.
Yeah. I guess because your love language is a bit different. I would say I've used love languages in a different way. Because yours is acts of service and receiving gifts, I would say for me, I've used love languages to try and almost... It's a hard thing to describe, because the way you actually feel loved is through acts of service. And acts of service do not make me feel loved in any way. Like, you can do something nice for me. It doesn't really make me feel loved. I just recognize it as a nice thing for me. So when you used to want me to do things for you, I didn't understand how important it was. So I would say that I used love languages to help me to understand how best to kind of make your life happier. And it helped me not to minimize something that's really important to you. And it's not easy, because acts of service really does not speak to me. I think that was like my lowest one, wasn't it? Like, my lowest one was acts of service. So I think I've used it to remind myself to be actively doing stuff for you. And it helps me when I feel sometimes like if I'm tired or I don't want to do something specifically for you, like maybe make your tea at that point in time, or I'm busy. Sometimes, like, you ask me to make your tea, and in my way of thinking about an act of service not being a big deal, I would think in my head, I don't have time right now to make your tea because maybe I'm working or something. But there's always that part of my head that kicks in. It's like, oh, but he just wants to feel loved. Like, this is me showing him that I love him, so I need to do it. because it's like, it's not about me or how I'm feeling. It's about making sure that you know that I do love you. So I have to kind of put aside whether or not I feel like I'm in the space to do it right now. So it's helped me in that way. And understanding that receiving gifts is your love language as well has helped me understand you as well, because when I would think of buying gifts, I don't think of that as being something that women do for men, even though I'm not saying that I've always bought you gifts, even in the beginning of our relationship. Valentine's, birthdays, randomly, I would buy you stuff and we bought each other stuff. But I think I always thought of it as something that men do for women. And if you're married to a man whose love language is receiving gifts, I don't think without this quiz you would easily find that out.
True.
I don't think you would see how much it matters to them. So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I think it's really helped me to understand something that I feel like without the quiz we just would not have understood, because there is that stereotype of men buying gifts and treating women to gifts and things like that, whereas a lot of men love gifts because it's not about the thing that you're buying, it's about the fact that you thought about them and you went out of your way to get something for them.
I must say I wasn't aware that one of my love languages was receiving gift. I knew act of service was in there somewhere, but receiving gift was never thought that would be one of my love languages. So I don't think I would ever have found out if I hadn't taken the test.
But then, so when you realized, or when the test told you that receiving gifts was your love language, did you actually agree with it, or did you think, what?
It took me a few days. I actually thought about it, and then I thought about the feeling when I've received gifts, and then thinking back at all the gifts that I've received from you, how it made me feel. And it was more like I felt loved rather than, oh yeah, she's bought me this, she bought me that. So it's like the feelings that is attached to it. So knowing that, I guess I had no choice but to agree with it.
Yeah, because you had a proper feeling attached to it. Yeah.
But the act of service, I agreed with that straight away, because I knew, you making my tea,
you and tea,
not just tea, but making anything for me.
Yeah, even just cooking.
Yeah, even just cook, exactly. Something that's like what you normally do anyways, but it's an act of service for me.
Yeah. So
everyday cooking is an act of service for me.
Yeah.
So my act of service is being met every day.
Ah.
Yeah, because
lucky for some.
Wow.
So that's kind of our love languages and how we use it in a relationship. How can understanding your partner's love language help to strengthen a relationship? What do you think about the benefits?
I think it
understanding it
can improve communication.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, communications we've had over the past few years has been much better than it was prior to understanding each other's love languages. I think it definitely meets each other's needs.
Yeah,
knowing my love language, knowing your love languages.
Yeah, so it's easier to meet each other's needs.
Yeah, it's easier.
There's so
much
more
easier.
Clarity.
Because when you're with someone, it's almost like you are trying to read their mind. Well, like gifts, but understanding it in a way of like, through the love languages, it means a lot to them.
Yeah. It also helps to build trust, because you know that that person is able to show you love in the way that you need. So you trust in them. That in turn strengthens your intimacy. So you're much more intimate, you're much more affectionate, you're much more loving. Yeah.
It also helps resolve conflict.
Yeah, like you kind of mentioned as well. Yeah. So some of the things we think definitely help with love languages.
I'm sure there's more. There's more out there.
There's probably more, but I think for us, definitely
those are the top ones.
Those are our kind of top 5 benefits. Understanding your partner's love language will help you kind of enhance your communication. What else did we say? Meet each other's needs, build trust,
strengthen intimacy.
Yeah.
And then resolve conflict.
So how can someone determine their own love language and the love language on their partner? So when you're doing the quiz, obviously, like we said, you can go on the website and do the quiz. And the book provides a quiz as well, I think it does, to help identify your love language. But if it doesn't, the website definitely does.
It does, yeah.
But even with that, you should reflect on your actual preferences. So when you're answering questions about yourself to determine your own love language, you really need to be honest with yourself. There's no point answering questions about yourself in a way that you think would make you sound better.
Yeah. That's true.
You have
That's
to
true.
be
You need to be 100%
honest. Yeah. So think about the things that make you feel loved and appreciated, and answer honestly, and reflect on what you prefer over another, because a lot of the questions on the quiz are about what you prefer over something else. And you might actually like both, or you might be happy with both, but it's really getting down to the core of you, like which one would you prefer. So that's really important.
And also as well, once you have the results or from the quiz, it's also good to observe your partner. You would see that the love languages that have come out from the quiz would reflect from their behavior. And
take note of things that seem to make them happy, or the things that they want more of in the relationship. You know, even without taking the love language quiz, if you actually observed your partner more to think about what makes them happy, you know, the quiz is not an exact science. So just because the quiz says that's their top love language, you do need to observe your partner and to make sure it is, because it might not be that. It might be another one. Might be their second one is their top one, and the quiz just didn't quite get it right. So it's not like the be all and end all when you get the results from the quiz. The quiz is like a starting point. I think it's more important to know the five different languages.
Yeah, I agree.
And then observe your partner and make sure that you're on the same page. So are there any risks associated with relying on love languages in a relationship? Yeah, I mean, I think that there are a number of risks, right? So I think just because someone's love language is specified as being, I don't know, touch, for example, it doesn't mean that you kind of ignore the other things that you could do for them in a relationship. And so you could end up relying too heavily on love languages, where because you think it's touch, now you just, all you do is give them hugs and, you know, you're intimate all the time, but you don't really put much effort on gifts that you buy them and special occasions, or communicate with them, or tell them you love them. You know, love languages don't mean that the person doesn't need any of the other things. It just means that this is what means most to them. So I think that's a risk. Sometimes when people know these things, they can overemphasize.
That's true. But what about the individuality of it? I mean, we are all different. Or how do you navigate that?
Yeah, and I think that is a risk. And so it's about understanding that usually what the quiz throws up is percentages and says, you know, your highest percentage is this and you're only 10% acts of service. You can't overlook the fact that people are really individual, and you can have quite a mix of those 5 love languages. And also kind of recognizing that as you go through the relationship, you change as well. So it's not about holding someone to their love language for the rest of their life and the rest of their relationship. You know, that's why I would say, you know, take the quiz over periods of time, you know, every 5 years or so, whatever, revisit it, because you can't start telling someone what they are like because you understand the quiz or because that's what the quiz said. So that's another risk as well. Like losing that individuality, and also kind of creating a stamp for that person based on the love language and expecting them to behave in a certain way. You have to stay open.
Yeah, you do.
Another risk, I think as well, with not necessarily with using it, but when you first find out about it, you could be really excited about it. And if your partner's not, that can be a bit problematic as well, isn't it?
That's true.
Where you can kind of try and force it down their throat, and you need to kind of
ease them into it.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean they have to do the quiz. You can, like we were saying, observe them because you understand it, and you can use that to help them understand you more without necessarily going down the love language route if they're not really interested in it. So
but then if they're not interested in it, then there's a question there.
Yeah, it's a flag.
It's a flag. I'm sorry.
Not necessarily. Don't necessarily. No, some people just don't believe in this stuff.
I know, but would you not want to try something that could improve your relationship?
Yeah, I would.
I would. I mean, it's a case of.
But we can't hold it against.
No. Definitely not. But there's got to be a reason why.
You're so
you're so against it. You know, if it's something that would give you a hint as to what, you know. See what it is, and then see if it's actually true. As we said already, it's not for everyone. Really. Not everyone is going to be.
Not necessarily, and I think recognizing that, but still taking the information, using that information for you going forward. You know, are there any other strategies for expressing and receiving love within a relationship? I think be open about what you want, what you in a relationship for.
Yeah. Communicate.
You can talk. You can say it without doing a quiz. Yeah. You can say what you like. Yeah.
We've covered some of this in
previous episodes.
Yeah. We said, be open, communicate.
That's true. And we were going to cover as well how love languages can be used to resolve conflicts in a relationship. But I think you kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
But I think definitely it's helped, I think, in conflicts, because it's helped me to remember that there's certain actions that I shouldn't take because they will hurt more than I am intending them to hurt because of his love language.
Yeah. And I think understanding each other's love languages and choosing not to act on it becomes like a sin in that relationship.
That's a weapon. You're choosing violence.
Is that so?
That I need
that. You know what I needed, and you just refused to apply it. Okay, cool. You're trying to destroy me.
No, but I understand what you mean. Yeah, because you understand each other's love language. Exactly. You both know good and well.
Yeah.
That if you're not being affectionate, for example.
Yeah.
I'm like, something's wrong, and he knows it, and he's behaving like this on purpose, and it becomes a big deal.
That's true.
But that does help to resolve conflict, because then when we do communicate, one of the first things Frank will do is apologize for his lack of affection. Or he'll apologize because he knows that means that, okay, we've been upset with each other for a day, which means a whole day I haven't had any words of affirmation. I haven't had any hugs, no touch. No kisses. So I'm completely starved of my love language. And so he recognizes that.
Yeah. So things are addressed much quicker.
So I can...
you can punish me for it.
No, I don't punish you. But I do sometimes think, all right, okay, you've got one more day.
It's like a slap on the wrist.
No, it's not. I think it's just...
It does allow you to be... It does allow the conversation to flow.
When we're both on the same page.
Yeah, it does.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You were saying it does allow the conversation to flow.
It does allow the conversation to flow when you're trying to resolve the conflict. Yeah, because it's not going to be a case of, going back and forth. It's just like how you said, I know what I haven't been doing over the last couple of hours or whatever that we haven't been speaking. So I would apologize. You would apologize. Yeah. And then that'll just be it.
Yeah. No, that's so true. So what's the hardest thing that we would say about using love languages? The hardest thing...
For me, the hardest thing is forgetting to do it. Yeah, it's hard, because you know what you need to do. It's almost like you've been told what it is, or you've tested it and you know it works. And then there are days where you're just consumed with what you're doing, that you fail to, reach out to your partner, give them a hug, send some word of information, her way or whatever, and then you're just in your own little bubble and whatnot. Then it gets to the end of the day, it's like, haven't done this.
And I think because words of affirmation and physical touch was, I think, halfway for you, but words of affirmation was really at the bottom. You don't give a damn what, you don't care what someone says. All you care about is their actions.
But you have to understand.
So you don't understand me.
Here's the issue that I had, or still have a little bit, is I do a lot of things for you.
Because it's your love language.
It's my love language, yeah. So for me, I have to keep remembering that this is not Nura's love language. This is mine. That's trying to do this for you. I'll do like 1,000,001 things for you in the day, but none of that counts to nothing because I haven't given you a hug. I've just done all the things that I wanted to do that would make me happy, but I haven't done anything that would make Nura happy.
And that's what for me, that's the hardest thing about using love languages for me. Yeah. Because I feel like you have to always remember that what you would want is not what the other person needs.
That is very true.
And that's the hardest thing, because I will hug you, give you a kiss, be like, I love you, babe. I love you. You're so happy.
I'm like, oh, where's my tea?
It's like, girl, you did not cook. But so there is that. It's trying to remember that I'm showing you love, because most people tend to show love in the way that they want to be loved. How they want to receive it.
Is very, very
so
true.
that is the hardest thing about it. Knowing your own love language, But knowing that your partner's one is different, you've got to almost stop yourself from autopilot, which is to give them love in the way that you will receive it. And Frank and I mean, we've had some very direct conversations where he's like, but I did this and I did that. And I'm like, I don't care about all of that, Frank. That doesn't mean nothing to me. Like he would basically like do something really nice, like on my birthday or something, and buy me a gift or whatever. But then because it's such a busy day and there's so much going on, he won't remember to be affectionate. So he won't necessarily tell me, you look beautiful today, or he won't necessarily hug me because he's so busy. Maybe I'm having a party or maybe people are around or whatever. So his affection is just not there. The level of affection I need is not there. And at the end of that day, when it's just the two of us, I might actually be really sad. Yeah. And he's like...
And I feel like I've done the whole world. Like,
yeah, he's like, I bought you this for your birthday. I did this, I did that on the day. He's making sure that I have everything I want, everything I need. And it's hard because I feel like a selfish wife because he's done all this and I can see that he's done all this stuff. But I still feel sad because he didn't tell me he loved me. He didn't tell me I look beautiful. Yeah. He didn't hug me because I was so busy with other people that he didn't, come up and just kind of put his arm around me, which for me means a lot. But he wouldn't think that because he's thinking acts of service. He's thinking gifts. He's thinking all of that other stuff. Yeah. And so we would get into arguments like that where I'm like, you've just been horrible to me today. And he's like, what? What are you talking about? I did this, I did that, I did this. And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything to me in terms of feeling loved. I don't.
So basically that day I had not met your needs. Yeah. Even though I had done all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to learn the same lesson all the time in that I can have a day where I'm so busy doing the things I need to do that I don't really prioritize doing stuff for Frank. And let's say I already cooked, right? Like I already cooked the other day. So that day I'm not cooking because there's already food. I'm so busy I don't really make tea for him or I'm not really checking for what he needs. But I will hug him or I will tell him I love him. But I haven't done anything else for him that day. I would feel like, oh, we've had a great day. Like I've been so affectionate, we've been so loving. And he
wearing me out with the hugs.
Yeah, I'm always hugging him. And then he's just like... Yeah, he hasn't received what he needs that day. He just feels like I've prioritized everybody else apart from him. Yeah. And it's really hard to remember that and to kind of have to operate in the opposite way from what you know. So yeah, I think
that was a lesson for me. Like going through that definitely opened my eyes in terms of like, paying attention to your love language. Because in my head, it sticks. It's there now. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what I'm going on. If I brought the king to your party, I still need to give you that hug. I still need to show.
And it means more. It means more to me.
It does. It definitely.
And I always say to you, you're so lucky because I think my love language should be the easiest, even though it's not for him. But the way I see it, I'm like, all you have to do is say words. Frank buys me gifts, so don't get me wrong. Like, he buys me gifts. He does lots of stuff for me because his whole love language is acts of service. So he is the most supporting husband and helping me, relieve my burdens. He'll help out with if I've got something I need to get done. He'll help me do it. Words of affirmation and physical touch is hard for you, whereas to me, that is the one that's least taxing.
I've been spending £400-500 instead of just giving you that nice hug.
Yeah.
I know.
But you've gotten a lot better though. So
it's important. Definitely important because it's made a huge difference in our relationship. Just understanding that there are things that you value way more than others. The way I see it now, all the stuff that I do, that are like the day-to-day stuff, like the act of service, I see them as the basic stuff. And then the words of affirmation are the additional bits stuff that I add in there. So if I'm going to do the act of service, I can't see that as, oh yeah, I've done this for you, I've done that for you, because that's not your love language. Yeah. If I choose to do all of that,
that's on you.
That's on me.
That's your business.
That's my business. I will do that, but I still need to cater to what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the same with me. So that is the hard thing. So in saying all that, because this episode is not going to be that long because it's so focused on love languages and there's not that much to say on them, but do we recommend love languages and do we think they actually work in practice?
The answer is yes. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think if you don't know about love languages, I think you're missing a huge trick, especially in a marriage.
Yeah.
I think if you're in a relationship, you've got all the time in the world. But I think in a marriage, when you're married with someone and you don't understand love languages, it's hard because I feel like you should be, once you're married, be living your best life together.
That's true.
And so all the time that you're spending trying to figure each other out, it's just a waste of time and figure each other out. I mean, I'm being specific about that because you're always going to change and you're still getting to know each other. And I still get to know Frank every day. But I mean, figuring him out, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're not really trying to figure each other out.
No.
And I think those are the parts that are reserved for when you're dating, when you're, before you decide to take like that big step and commit your life to the other person, you would want to have figured them out. So if you're in a marriage and you don't know about love languages, get your partner to understand it, read it, get them on board and, start really applying it. If you're in a relationship, then that now is the perfect time.
Yeah, I agree. If you're in a serious relationship and you know that one day you're going to be married, it's definitely worth.
Or could be married.
Or could be married. Like it's a serious relationship, then do the test, do the quiz.
And for our cohabitating, I don't want to get married ever relationships, it's still important because to me, even if you don't get married, if you have that level of commitment in your relationship where you're exclusively with that person, maybe you even have kids together, you live together and you're living like a married couple technically, then I think, the same rules apply. Try and make sure that you're applying these things.
Definitely.
So we're going to summarize our 6 tips and takeaways from this episode and then call it a day.
Yeah.
On the topic. So our first tip and takeaway, Frank. What's our first tip?
Our first tip today is knowing your love language and understanding the love language of your partner is essential to every relationship.
Yeah, that's our first tip. It's definitely important. Like we just said, if you don't know it, you need to get started on knowing it and understanding it. And if you're married, it's even more crucial to really start applying it. And you'll see the difference. It's essential to a relationship, I think. Tip and takeaway number 2, regularly express your love in ways that match your partner's love language. Because that will help strengthen your relationship. So it's not enough to know it, but actually act on it. Actually make an effort to express your love language. To express your love to them in the way that matches their love language, not your love language, like we've just said.
Third tip is recognizing that everyone's love language is different. So understanding your partner's needs is critical.
Yeah, because love languages from the quiz, like we said before, it's all about percentages. Mine is words of affirmation and physical touch, and some days physical touch might be the one that works works better than words of affirmation. So but there's also moments where acts of service means a lot to me. So understanding that we're very individual and we're very kind of fluid in terms of how our emotions affect how we need to feel love. It's important to kind of recognize and understand their needs, not just their love language, but what they actually need.
That is very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah, I think the 4th one talks about taking the quiz over a period of time. As you said already, maybe every 5 years or whatever, but regularly check on the quiz, do the quiz over and over again, because as we grow older, the things that we need, the things that we want will change.
Yeah. And priorities shift as well. Yeah. Number 5 is understanding that expressing your love language in the way that they understand will actually nurture intimacy in your relationship. So not only is it essential for a successful relationship, but it actually makes you more loving and intimate. So understanding it as a form of intimacy in a way.
That's true. The 6th one is being aware of your partner's love language would allow you to customize your effort. This is really interesting one. taking the specific ones, but actually customize it to fit around what
them. And it's also efficient of you because you're not wasting energy doing things with low impact. Frank.
That's true. I know, focusing on the wrong things. They're putting like 99% into it. Yeah.
So it helps you to kind of optimize your effort in that relationship.
Yeah. That's why we recommend it, because if you know the things that your partner likes or loves, then you can just put your energy into that.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Yeah.
So that's it. That's Love Languages. Go out and get the book. I mean, we are not sponsored. We are not in any way affiliated with Dr. Chapman, and we're not really kind of saying that this is going to, be the miracle tool that will fix everything wrong with your relationship. But it is it's a starting point. It's a good tool. Yeah. So we would recommend getting the book, reading it, or go online and do the quiz and start to apply it, and then let us know. Yeah. Let us know if it does make any difference to your relationship. We might have to wait a long time before we get that feedback, but yeah.
I think you would see an instant improvement, especially if you and your partner are both interested in it and you both do the quiz together.
Yeah.
Because I think when we did the quiz, it was immediate.
Yeah, we were so impressed. We were so intrigued by the essence of us in terms of love and feeling appreciated. So yeah, definitely.
So that's it, guys.
That's it. So that's it, guys. You've heard our views on love languages in relationships and whether or not we think they actually work. We've defined it and told you what role we think it plays in our relationship and what role it could play in your relationship. We really hope you tune into the next episode where we'll be looking at the patriarchy. What is it? Why is it such a controversial topic? And what is really going on with it? So tune in for that next week. Don't forget to email us any of your questions, comments, or dilemmas at itt.thepodcast@gmail.com or send us a DM on Instagram at ITT Podcast, all one word. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll speak to you on the next one.
Bye.